A very famous philosopher constructed his philosophy on a single translation mistake. Schopenhauer is famous for proving that life is endless, miserable suffering. He claimed ancient Indian wisdom agreed with him, but he was reading a translation of a translation and he got it completely backwards. And that's how a mistranslated word created the most dangerous philosophy in the West. Now look, I'll be the first to admit that Schopenhauer can sound very honest. He said underneath your thoughts, your ambitions and your sense of self, there's one blind, irrational force running all of existence. He called it the will, not willpower, the will with a capital W, which is a cosmic drive or hunger with no destination and no satisfaction. According to him, you are the will wearing a body, and because the will is endless hunger, obviously life is then suffering. And the only exit is by denying the will what it drives us to do, like denying our ambition, our sexual desires, our comforts. Now, Schopenhauer also said, my philosophy and the Upanishads are saying the exact same thing. Now, Schopenhauer was not a fraud. He sounded logical. But when you read the Chandogya Upanishad, you realize immediately that he misunderstood the text. So the real issue was this. He read a Latin translation written by a Frenchman, which was based on a Persian translation commissioned centuries earlier by a Mughal prince named Dara Shikoh. Basically, he studied a translation of the original Sanskrit. And right there is a huge foundational mistake. The Sanskrit word Māyā, which means illusion or the play of appearances hiding the nature of reality, this word was translated into Persian as Ishq. Ishq means burning, consuming desire. Prince Dara Shikoh used it because of an old Sufi proverb which said that the universe was created because the divine desired to be known. So when Schopenhauer read through the Latin filter, he thought the fundamental nature of reality is a blind, consuming drive. But Māyā is not Schopenhauer's will. Māyā is the problem the Upanishads are trying to solve. It's the illusion that you have to see through. It's like a mask, a veil. It's not the thing behind the mask, which is what Schopenhauer thought. He took the Indian word for what's wrong with ordinary consciousness and made it the name for ultimate reality itself. The Chandogya Upanishad is a great example for the nature of reality. A father holds up a gold bracelet, a gold necklace and a gold ring. He asks the son, what are these? The son replies, it's jewelry. The father says, no, that's the name we gave these shapes. The bracelet will be melted down someday. The necklace will be reshaped. The same goes for the ring. The shapes come and go, but what were they always underneath every shape? The son says gold. And the father says, that's what you are. Not the ornament, the gold itself, which no shape can diminish, which no melting can destroy, which was never anything other than what it is. Now, this is a brilliant metaphor for ultimate reality. In the text, the gold represents Brahman, the unchanging ground of existence. The shapes of the jewelry come and go, but the gold remains perfectly untouched and free. And this is where Schopenhauer's translation mistake completely changes the picture, because Schopenhauer replaced Brahman with the will, and he fundamentally misunderstood the nature of the gold. To Schopenhauer, the raw material underneath the jewelry is not pristine and peaceful. He agreed that the shapes of the jewelry are illusion, but he thought the substance underneath them was pure torture. The Upanishads teach the exact opposite. They teach the ground of reality is Sat-Chit-Ananda, existence, pure consciousness, and absolute bliss. Schopenhauer also absolutely loved the line from the Upanishads, Tat-Tvam Asi, that thou art. But he didn't use it to find joy. He used it to explain the mechanics of compassion. He argued that when you see a starving stranger or an animal screaming in pain, Tat-Tvam Asi means that is you. You pierce the illusion of your individuality just to realize that their suffering is actually your suffering. This makes Schopenhauer's world very tragic. In his eyes, your reward for waking up to reality is not bliss. It's just absorbing the collective pain of the universe. The Chandogya Upanishad is not a call to some kind of universal sadness. It is a teaching of Bhuman, or fullness. It implies that enlightenment is like entering a hall of mirrors, where you see nothing other than yourself and know nothing other than yourself. For Schopenhauer, breaking the illusion means recognizing that you're trapped in a shared cosmic nightmare. For the Upanishads, breaking the illusion means waking up to a shared cosmic masterpiece and realizing your immense fullness. Now, these aren't just slightly different ideas, they're polar opposites. And by the way, Schopenhauer was not entirely wrong. He was right that the grasping ego self is not what you fundamentally are. He was right about desire being a trap, and he correctly saw that something connects all living things beneath the surface. He looked into that depth and saw a suffering void. The Upanishads looked into the same depth and found the opposite. They found that what's underneath the ego is not a blind, hungry nothing. It's awareness itself, and it precedes the desires, and it's already complete. Schopenhauer said, beneath your illusions is more suffering. The Chandogya said, beneath your illusions is you, the real you. Schopenhauer held the Upanishads in his hands, or what he thought was the Upanishads, and saw his own reflection staring back. He saw suffering because he expected to see suffering. He found a blind will because that was the color of his own interior world. The most dangerous thinker is the one who almost gets it right.